Hey, what's up you guys? Anthony here at DIYautotech, coming to you with another video tonight in the darkness. We are partly illuminated, and I say partly because one of our headlights has burned out. We're gonna make a video here. We're gonna show you how to replace the bulb that's out. We're gonna show you how to test whether the bulb is actually bad or if you have an electrical connector problem of some sort, and so forth. So let's get to it. For the sake of this video, we're gonna come back at you tomorrow when there's some sunlight. That way, we can see what we're doing under the hood. As you saw in the video last night, this headlight was not illuminating at all. No light coming out. So obviously the first thing we're gonna wanna check is the bulb, because the bulbs do go out quite frequently as they are aftermarket. So we could come towards the back of the headlight unit, and you can see in most vehicles you're gonna have a couple of bulbs. So for this one we have 3 separate bulbs, but when you look at the lights themselves, when we turn on our running lights, both the running lights work, but when we turn on our regular headlights, which are the outer ones on this vehicle, this one does not illuminate. So we can come towards the back and see that this is the bulb for that unit. Alright, so all we're going to do is you're going to want to remove the connector. And just be gentle here. And just push the connector out, like so. And then on most of these units, the bulbs are going to turn either clockwise or counterclockwise. And take note of which way it turns. And then you can gently lift the bulb out. Making sure not to touch the unit itself. Okay. So what we're looking at here, this is the bulb that's going to illuminate. And we're going to check this. We're going to show you how to use it. And we're going to show you how to tell if it's working or not using a DVOM. Alright you guys, we got the DVOM here, as you can see. We're going to test the bulb by seeing if there's continuity between both connectors. So the way this works is you get power source that comes in through one side, goes through the filament, and that's what causes the illumination, and comes out towards ground. So what we could do is we could use our DVOM, and we can set it up to this tab here, which is going to show us if there's continuity in the circuit. And it's going to beep if there is. And this is just going to help for the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to place one tab on the positive side, one tab on the ground side. Or not positive, sorry, the power and ground side. And we're going to see if we hear anything. And as you can see here, it's in open. There's no current going through both sides, which means in the inside of this, the filament is broken to a point where current cannot flow through the whole thing. If this were a working bulb, current would flow through the whole filament and out through the ground side, and we would hear a beep on our DVOM. So we'll show you what that looks like on a good bulb. The other bulb that we're going to test, the good bulb, we're also going to pull out of the vehicle. It's always a good, safe measure that when you're replacing one bulb, you replace the other, because if one went out, the other is probably soon to follow. So again, we're going to take the connector off this side. We're going to pull the bulb out the same way we did the opposite. Same with this side. We're going to pop the connector off. And we're going to rotate it, the bulb that is, and we're going to slide it out gently. Safe practice not to touch it with your fingers. So this is the good bulb here. Still works, but we're going to replace it as well. We're going to test both connectors to see if it's a continuous flow. We got the good bulb here. We're going to touch both of these to the electrodes, and there is continuous flow. Continuous flow means it's a good bulb, but we're still going to replace it because you want to do both at the same time. You guys, I highly recommend these Sylvania Silver Stars ZXEs. These are great headlights. They illuminate a very beautiful diamond white. It's not very blue at all, and they offer tons of illumination for a very low price. And you can get the set for about $40 to $60. and they'll last you a super long time. As always, guys, we're going to part match before we install them on the vehicle. It looks to be the same. We're ready to go. It's always a good idea to practice reinstalling an old bulb before installing a new one. So we're going to practice installing this one in without scratching it or touching it with our fingers. And that's in. And we'll do that once or twice to get comfortable putting in the new bulb. Okay? This way, when you go to put in your $30 bulb on each side, you don't ruin it. Alright, let's go ahead and take that out and put in the brand new one. Again, you want to make sure not to touch any portion of the bulb with your fingers, because the oils can overheat the lens on the bulb and cause it to fracture. So that bulb is in. We've turned it downwards clockwise, or counterclockwise in this vehicle. And now all we're going to do is reinstall the sensor. Sensor's back in. Bulb's locked into place. We'll move on to the next side. Alright, and again, we're going to come on the other side and we're going to practice again with the bad bulb. Since this side is a little different, there's less room and it's more challenging. And as you can see, I'm kind of scratching the bulb as I go in on this side. So we're going to have to hit it from a different angle. I don't like that angle. What we could do here is I could come from around the back side on this part of the vehicle. I could come straight in on this side, which I couldn't do on the other side of the vehicle. And now this way, we could put the bulb in. So we're going to try that with the new bulb. Old one we can just get out of the way. We're going to take our new bulb. We're going to come through the back side of the unit. We're going to slot it into place, turn it down, and we're going to insert our connector. Both connectors are in. Now all we need to do is go put some power to these and see how they look. Alright, we got power on. And we got both headlights are on and working. The next step is going to be to aim them. Alright, so the portion of aiming your headlights is going to be at the viewer discretion. And the reason I say this is because every headlight has a different slope angle. Every car has a different headlight height in relation to the ground. And everyone aims theirs from a different distance. Some people like to do it from 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet, 25 feet. There's a lot of geometric figures you can see online if you go to different websites that show you how to calibrate. But for the most part, what I like to tell my users is that your headlights, you want them to follow the slope, or not follow the slope of the hood, but you want them to be below the slope of the hood. Okay, so when you're about 20 feet from a garage, you don't want your headlights to be over the hood, if that makes sense, okay? The line of sight for the headlights wants to slope downward slightly so that when you're passing or when you're driving down the road, you're seeing the road and not the sky, okay, which is what happens a lot of the time when people replace their headlights. They're aiming at the trees. So a lot of these vehicles are going to have little controls like these, which adjust the inward movement or outward movement of the headlight, so it'll bring the light out this way. And they have some down here as well that adjust them up and down. Okay, and each vehicle is a little different. Some vehicles, they're not as easy to get to as these. Other ones, they're pretty simple, like this car is. On a side note, don't buy the bulb grease if you go to AutoZone or Pep Boys or wherever you go. White lithium grease is all you're going to need. I personally don't use it on the bulbs because the connectors don't actually get super hot. On other components of the car, yeah, I might use some grease if they corrode quickly. But you can use white lithium grease if you're a believer in that kind of stuff. This is just going to help keep corrosion from happening, and it protects the connector. But again, with headlights, I've never seen an issue with corrosion in the connectors. So again, that's up to you, viewer discretion. Alright you guys, that's going to wrap up the video for how to replace your headlights on your vehicle. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them below in the comments, and I'll try and get back to them as soon as I can. Shoot me a message as well. And as always, like, share, or subscribe my videos. We'll see you next time.